The story still dominating the headlines is tomorrow's planned Palestine protest march in London. Well, it's going ahead. You're going to go down and have a look what's going on.
I feel that as a trained observer, I need to go and have a look. You can talk with knowledge about these kind of events, which is why I've been able to do it for the last few weeks. As I've been to two of them, I've seen what's actually happening in them. It'll be very interesting to see what's happening tomorrow. Meanwhile, of course, the great and the good are all calling for Suella Braverman to be sacked because she had the temerity to be honest with the public, to be authentic and tell us what she thinks. And most people agree with her. The police are pro-Palestine. Why should she be sacked?
What is really ticking me off, it's the infantilising way. When I listen to the news every morning and various Bodsford politics and the police are popping up on radio stations around the country, throwing in their 2 bits, it's the infantilising way they are saying to people who are simply patriots, who don't want to see statues, the cenotaph trashed, who don't want to see Armistice Day destroyed by these marches. They're saying, well, you better stay at home because some unsavoury characters might turn up. Nobody seems to be saying that to the pro-Palestinian marchers when we know a half of the groups behind organising those marches are directly connected to Hamas, a terrorist organisation. I don't hear people say, well, do you think you ought to go on that pro-Palestine march? There might be a few terrorist sympathisers on it.
Meanwhile, Sir Mark Rowley, the Met Police Chief, has told the Prime Minister that the reason he is not banning the march, because he could ban it for public safety reasons, he says there's no credible threat of trouble. I don't know what planet he's on, but the rest of us on planet Earth, Sir Mark, we think there is a credible threat of trouble, an enormous credible threat of trouble. So if he doesn't think there is going to be any trouble, why then has he cancelled all leave, called in thousands of coppers from all over the country to help the London police, and the forces declared, we will put a ring of steel around the cenotaph? That doesn't sound to me like the action of a top cop who doesn't think there's going to be any trouble.
I mean, it's a huge policing effort. So, you know, heaven forfend if you happen to have a burglary that day, because no one's turning up. Every policeman has to be in London.
Yeah, but why does he say he doesn't think there's going to be any trouble?
I don't know. I don't get it. I've just lost the narrative with the whole of this. It's become the typical political tug of war. Those who are on the right side apparently think that, you know, all the pro-Palestinian march is wonderful and showered in glory, despite Iran basically having a hand in organising a lot of it. And anybody who shows even a glimmer of patriotism must be a far-right extremist, and that's what seems to now warrant the police presence, not because there are these beardy weirdies flying their ISIS flags walking the streets and shouting jihad. No, because some other people say, we don't want this to happen. Yeah, it beggars belief.
Yeah, meanwhile, later in the show, we're going to be talking to Paul Sims. He's from The Sun, and he's just been in Gaza, right on the front line. And the reason we're going to talk to Paul is he's seen what he calls an apocalyptic vision of sheer devastation there. He's been into Hamas, former Hamas HQs all over the region and seen what they were planning. Now, the reason we're doing this is here we are should Suella be sacked, this pro-Palestinian march and all the turmoil back here, the poor Israeli community, the Jews. We forget what this is about. Yeah. It's about this terrible war that is going on as we speak in Gaza. 2 nights ago, there were several television reports which were extremely harrowing. I mean, this is 24/7 fierce fighting on the front with tanks, bombs, guns, Hamas coming out of tunnels to shoot at the Israelis accusing Hamas of fighting like rats, and so on and so forth. We're seeing some pictures here. So I thought it was important to remind ourselves about what all this turmoil here is really about. And in terms of turmoil, the real turmoil is in Gaza.
Yeah, and I think it is so important to keep reminding ourselves that Israel are dealing with terrorists. The narrative keeps shifting away from that. Of course, you know, other media organisations, whom I won't name, get their statistics direct from the Hamas authorities. And there seems to have been this, like, continuous whitewashing of the fact that there were these huge atrocities on the 7th of October that kick-started all of this, and quite what Hamas tactics might be.